and innovation of U.S. economy and American businesses. So folks, now don't forget about this. If you did not receive a monthly child tax credit check and have not filed your taxes, you must do so to receive the extra money. Taxpayers can actually claim the benefit and payment by filing a tax return. However, this year's tax season ended very, very early, so you may be able to still get the money if you claim the credit by filing your return after those dates. However, since both deadlines have passed, the amount of money you're eligible for would be reduced by penalties and refunds would be less than expected. So hopefully everybody, we see President Biden take up and send out the stimulus payments before President July rebates automatically via direct deposit banking information on file with the state. The state expects to send about 710,000 rebates with the split between single filers and joint filers around 50-50. Government officials said some checks might be less than $250 or $500 if taxpayers incorrectly calculated their income payments and are still owed money, or if they filed late and have been assessed interest. In addition, you might not receive a rebate if you were declared as a dependent on someone else's return. New Mexico reinserts have gotten a lot of tax relief so far in 2022. New Mexico became the last state to exempt Social Security income from taxes when Governor Michelle Lujan signed a sweeping tax legislation, which helped many people. Shocking news. President Biden has released and announced a new executive order. He will be taking action on it very soon. The lawmakers are trying to include new provisions into a new spending bill, and this means a fourth round of stimulus may be sent out sooner than later. The House Majority Caucus has already proposed a $1,300 payment to people in Alaska to provide relief for high fuel costs, inflation, and a crisis. The House Majority said the bill includes an energy relief check. The money will be in addition to Alaska's annual permanent fund dividends. Democratic Representative Neil Foster said the current $110 price per barrel of oil was a major reason for the proposal. He told reporters prices of fuel at the pump for gasoline and heating fuel are going up, and as Alaskans face these high prices, the state of Alaska is going to see more revenue come into the coffers. And so we believe that we should be helping $1,000 and get the payments every single month. Now, some governors are backing a one-time tax rebate to put as much as $800 in the pockets of the American people. And the governor told reporters a paycheck does not go as far as it did 2 years ago, and I'm working to give nearly $1 billion back to the hands of hardworking, tax-paying Alabama residents. But applications for new guaranteed income programs in Massachusetts, for example, opened, with selected participants receiving monthly payments of up to $500. So folks, it's great to see that Joe Biden is actually doing something to help the American people, which since mid-2022, politicians have warned Americans and a growing number of tax people to be exact about this. And the IRS has said that it wants to hire new employees using funds from the $80 billion allocated to the Inflation Reduction Act. But according to several experts, the IRS does not plan to use all of that funding for hiring purposes alone. As the New York Times pointed out, the IRS total number of full-time employees is 20% fewer than what the agency had in 2010. Even though the population has grown, to bolster its numbers, the agency plans to hire using a lot of money, $50 for 3 children. Families need to apply to receive it. And the size of the credit and eligibility requirements vary greatly by state. Vermont's $1,000 payment, for example, is reserved for children 5 and under and families earning $125,000 or less. In Massachusetts, existing tax deductions for dependents were converted into two refundable credits. These state tax credits are worth between $180 to $240 per child under 12 for up to 2 children in all families. In some states, the credit is non-refundable, which means it can reduce someone's tax liability as low as $0. Taxpayers must file a tax return to receive it. Others, including Vermont, have made it fully refundable, meaning that it can reduce a filer's tax liability below $0. Despite the plans, the bill is yet to be formally proposed and is being negotiated on across both sides of Congress. Folks, we have a ton of good news about the fourth stimulus check and Social Security benefits. Stay tuned because you definitely don't want to miss out on this. Social Security, everybody, provides monthly benefits to millions of retired seniors. Some of those seniors depend on the program for the bulk of their income, and that's proven to be a problematic thing this year in particular. Although Social Security recipients get a generous 5.9% raise going into 2022, at this point the rate of inflation is far outpacing that boost. That means seniors who live mostly on Social Security are losing buying power even at a time when they're sitting on a higher raise. But that's not the only issue with depending heavily on Social Security. In future, Social Security may have to cut benefits to the tune of 20% due to revenue shortfall. That could leave many seniors in the lurch. In the coming years, Social Security expects to owe more in benefits than it collects in revenue. Folks, there is a new fourth stimulus check, and thousands of Americans are set to receive checks worth as much as $2,500 very soon. Many of you are wondering whether your state will send you one. Well, I'll be sharing all this important information for the fourth stimulus payment in today's video. So continue watching. We got a ton of news about this. Since the IRS distributed the final batch of these economic impact payments to eligible individuals, the concept of a fourth federal stimulus payment has been under consideration. There are several statewide programs that are in full swing or just getting started. The Alaska Permanent Fund Dividend pays Alaska residents a portion of state minerals revenue in the form of an annual dividend to benefit current and future generations. Although the deadline is March 31st of the year for which you're applying, there are some exceptions. According to officials, applicants who filed an application online and have been determined eligible will receive a September 22 stimulus payment. That's until the end of October at least. In the Washington Working Families Tax Credit aims to offer financial support to residents for the state range from $50 to $100. Now, these payments will be allocated to individuals and families taking into account specific criteria like the income level and the number of qualifying children in the household. Furthermore, eligible recipients will have a 3-year window to claim the credit. Massachusetts has also already began doing this, and if you haven't even filed your 2021 return, you can still get a refund as well if you file by September 15. If you're eligible for a refund, you should receive it about 1 month after you file. The New Mexico Taxation and Revenue Department started issuing rebate checks of up to $1,000 for the married couples, heads of households, and surviving spouses, and even $500 for single filers. Eligible residents who filed a 2021 income tax return are not even declared dependent on another tax return if they will receive a payment automatically. The payment is actually a rebate for the New Mexico residents who have filed or will file. Now, experts have noted that Joe Biden didn't even offer much to student loans, but instead experts say that the president provided a watered-down version of the forbearance loan. More details on the previously announced update income-driven payment plan and a promise again to help America out. Joe Biden said it would actually be discharging the loans for borrowers who've been in repayment for about 25 years under the program. But now, under the announcement from Joe Biden again, Biden has announced the programs of the day of the Supreme Court decision. Questioning remains about how implementation for this process will work, to help borrowers adjust their monthly payments and to restart in September. The president announced that the revamped program, which will last 12 months according to student loan experts, is actually a forbearance in many ways. It can help borrowers pay their student loans. Some advocates are actually recommending that they do not even use the on-ramp program, and thus avoid interest accrual. Now, during this period, borrowers who miss payments won't be reported to the credit bureaus, and won't be considered in default, and won't be referred to collection agencies for those payments. It's similar to the payment pause during the crisis, which was actually called forbearance. But the interest will occur, and a key difference: during this key crisis payment pause, interest was set at 0%. According to Yahoo News, although payments won't even be due for another year, balances will start accruing interest on September 1st. The longer it takes for